Stargazer sends Flashback to help. Hardware turns him into a miniature. Today's episode of Silverhawks.
Welcome back to Retro Wednesday at the Talk to Your Banger. This is Mike. Today I want to talk to you about Vac Metal Super 7 Ultimates figures, and I'm going to take a look at Quicksilver out of the package and talk about the coloration, talk about how all these other figures look, the ones we have now, and then the future of Vac Metal, and of course looking at dead end of the line. It's coming very, very soon. Sadly, I don't think this line has legs, but there's going to be a multitude of waves. I thought there might be one more wave. I think there's going to be 4 more waves at least, because they have to work in the Vac Metal, the toy versions, reuse the molds. It's what they've always done. It's what they're going to do here. And I'm actually kind of excited for it. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about the potential of what the future of these toy versions will look like, because we're entering into uncharted territory. So we're not talking about toy versions that look just like the cartoon versions, that just look like a reuse of the old mold. Now we're entering into these figures have different gimmicks, different aesthetics, different looks. There's so much different to them. There's a lot to talk about, but quick look at Quicksilver, comparisons of Quicksilver, and then what else going forward coming up. Alright, so this video is about 2 months in the making. I made a promise that I was going to show one of these opened up out of the package, and I really have been curious because Toy Sorceress from Toy Addicts has been speaking very highly of all these Vac Metal ones and said you got to get them out of the package, and they look right out of the package. Now, I will say this. It does look shinier because if you turn this guy, it glimmers, it gleams. The Vac Metal is absolutely fantastically amazing. I just am in awe of it and impressed with it. And that's why I have 2 of everything still boxed up, but you know, I had to get this guy out of his prison to show off what it can do. And they do include this, and I actually have some white gloves that came with one of my Transarts figures, but I put it back in the box. I don't remember which figure it came with, and I didn't really want to hunt that down, but this might be a white glove figure because of the fingerprints. But it does look amazing. Is it still too dark out of the package? Yes. Yes, it is. I mean, and I'm going to just say it should be like this. This is what it should look like, but it's too dark. But the Vac Metal chrome is still so impressive that out of the package, you just kind of want to love it because you do love it. But yeah, it's not as shiny or silver. It's charcoal. It's still charcoal version figure, but looks absolutely amazing. The Vac Metal, it's hard to not fall in love with the Vac Metal. I will admit this part is very scary, but it does come with the different arms, and there's wear and tear to the Vac Metal when you plug it in and pull it out. But if you're gentle with it and careful with it, the only wear is going to come from the figure, the insertion point. Now, here is, I didn't really want to get into the negatives too soon, but the negatives really are the fact that he does not at all have anything protecting it from paint chipping. I would think that maybe an overcoat over the painted, because it's painted over Vac Metal, would help it out. And since I'm doing almost nothing with it, I've already had dusting from paint and dusting from this coming off on the table. So that's scary. And the joints themselves, you probably don't want to move them too much. But at the same time, if you run an arm, it's still not going to affect my display pose. So that's an issue. The face, I think people are paying ridiculous money for the Super 7 only face pack because a lot of these faces get chipped and stuff. So mine still looks good, of course, because, you know, I just took a lot of good care of it. But the paint will chip off of the Vac Metal that's Vac Metal underneath it, just like the vintage figures. And just like vintage figures, I mean, there's none of them are perfect. Nose rub on them, they're not perfect unless you take them straight out of the package. And with that, I mean, that will command much higher value and price. But while I'm here, we do have some more accessories. We got a fist, and of course that's the left hand. We've got an opening hand, and then we've got another fist for flesh, and then an open flesh hand, and then yeah, that's pretty much how it is. Also, we've got a face. So I'm gonna put his face shield on and, you know, do him upright. Right, here he is fully in his Silverhawk mode with the new face. And check this out. This is Tallyhawk. No features. I don't think the wings move at all. Tail moves at all. But you do. Maybe a little side to side. Nope, nothing. You get a little bit of movement in the perching claws. If you're going to perch him, you need to kind of lean him forward and use the wing to balance against his head. And you could sort of perch him. It's not easy. It's not, it ain't easy. I do apologize to anybody on the West Coast. That was an East Coast reference. We want easy. Or, I really don't know. But still, that was not easy. Easy reference, duh. Anyway, he can perch. It's not made to really click in or do anything other than you just have to have some super ultra ninja balancing skills like I do to make it happen, and then that happens. Now for kind of a comparison, this is the crossroad that I entered into where I did not feel like it was worth $55 a figure, and now they're $65 a figure, but to buy these. And Quicksilver itself wasn't silver, he was cartoon, he was gray, primer hawks, like people say. Now, a couple of issues with these figures, even in the cartoon, and I'm the biggest Super 7 shill, so, you know, you can trust me. I have built trust as being the shill. He can't actually do like his face mask down. There's not enough articulation to bring the face mask down, but I like the look of it. I have fought this battle over and over with people on forums and stuff, but I don't win because this is as far as his elbow goes, and he won't bring his face mask down to have that kind of look. You have to do it from a force perspective. Now, again, anything you want to do can be done, as in he's bringing his face mask down. And people might think this is silly to even talk about, but when I start talking about the future, it's very important. And then I don't care because he's just going to stay here and do this as like almost a statue. And basically I treat the Vac Metal stuff as statue. Well, I treat them as stuff that's in the box, but we'll get to that. This is the true reason I didn't really mess around with the Super 7 Ultimates Silverhawk for full retail price. See, I got the Ramen Toys one, and well, I was happy with it. I thought it was great, and it's shinier. No, let's just show this. It is shinier, and in some cases looks better. This is more close to the cartoon. This is stylized a bit. Well, I don't know, 25% stylized. Still, I thought looked better than this. So I waited till I found these cheap on the secondary market. Somebody dumped them, and you know, I got even a sealed one for $30 or something. And then, but I had this in my collection the whole time. But what I really wanted was Vac Metal. So there it is. Still, I love what Ramen did, and Ramen tried to do it right, and now it's kind of over. But now we're going to look at where we have come from with Vac Metal, and this is where we are now. And as you can see, it is seriously dark looking in there, but when you get it out, you can kind of like turn it around and oh, it looks so much shinier because light refracts off of it and it looks more silverish. And on your shelf displaying, it doesn't look as dark. I mean, that still looks super charcoal because it doesn't have the light refracting and the wings out. Wing out! So, is it a win? I don't want to admit this to Super 7 because you know they'll do it. But if you make it with a more silvery, lighter complexion, I would probably buy another one. Ugh, I don't want to give them the idea because they love to remake Lion-O 50 times. They'd love to remake this guy 50 times. You know, in the contrast, I think Steel Heart is almost too light versus the original one. But, you know, I'm not going to pull her out, so I'm not even going to get the original toy out. And with that, she still looks great. And I actually got this one on Target.com for $40. I couldn't believe it. I bought it, and I was like, well, you know, I can always cancel my BBTS one like I did. These two guys are out, and I will say Stillwell is nowhere near as deep blue as I thought and almost looks like what you would want your Quicksilver to look like. So let's just get this side by side. But he's still more blue than Quicksilver, still more darker, but feels a little bit brighter than this one. But anyway, I still think that there's enough blue tint differentiation to him to make it worthwhile, and it works out. Then we've got Bluegrass, who looks amazing. I didn't even like the color right when I got it out. Started matching it up, and you know, there's like a Mexico version that I think looks better than this, but the US version, it's almost a one-to-one match to the color. I don't want to admit it, but yeah, it's pretty close. The future, Marty. What do you mean the future? That's my girlfriend's line. No, NECA did not make it Jennifer, but this is the future of Silverhawks, and we have Hot Wing here. Now, I want to point out something about Hot Wing. First off, he's not Vac Metal. They haven't made him Vac Metal yet, and they're probably going to make him and Copper Kid in the next line as Vac Metal, as the toy versions, and I have a bunch of questions. Now, obviously, they'll give us some sort of version of his bird, but his wings are similar to or almost exactly like what we got with the other Hawks, which I think is wrong. And when we get the toy version, will we just get the clip-on wings here? I doubt it, actually. I really do doubt they're going to be done correctly. Now, I believe he'll be Vac Metal top to bottom and then painted with the leg, face, and arm paint, and just kind of how the original figure was done. So I think all that's straightforward, pretty easy to handle and deal with. And with that, I think we'll just get those arms in Vac Metal, just like this. And now, do I like that? I would rather, if they're going to say it's a toy version, give us these little clip-on wings. Or, I mean, come on, you're going to be charging $75 probably, right? Why not give us this and some clip-on wings for a ridiculous asinine price you're going to charge? I'd be cool with that, but at the same time, this, and then Copper Kid, no need to show Copper Kid because we all know what he looks like, but I don't know where I'm going to dig him out from. Also, Copper Kid would be in the next wave. So the next wave announced will probably have these in toy version. So the reason I got the Hot Wing expectations that we will not get, you know, the correct wings, because we've already seen what the cartoon version of Flashback looks like. And I didn't grab his bird, but it's not necessary, I don't think. But his wings are a different gimmick. You fold them down, they kind of lock in place, and then you clip them up, whatever. But the wings, let's just show this, look considerably different than what we got with Silverhawk. Not the same wings, but yet they've shown they're going to put them out in the same wings as what we get here. So is that a cheap out? I mean, are they going to go through the trouble of making a whole new mold and not give us the actual correct wings? I mean, I think that's weird. So we won't be able to do this, or toy version won't look like toy. I wonder if they'll go through the trouble of doing the remolds for the toy version look like toy, but we won't know until we get this guy. But I still believe this guy is going to be stuck like Chuck. We have the last Hawk. You might be asking, why am I not talking about Condor? Because, well, we saw exactly what happened already with Stargazer, and Condor will be the exact same thing as Stargazer, so there's no real question with that. But when it comes to this, there's a bunch of questions. First of all, they haven't made a supersonic the ultrasonic Quicksilver, but they all follow this, and he follows this where you have Vac Metal on the chest and just plastic on the arms and legs, and we get this here. Not really a big deal in my opinion, but it is what it is. But this one includes the flip down face mask, which obviously they're not going to do that. They're just going to give you a swappable head because that's modern technology and modern way that we do things. But at the same time, will this thing be fully Vac Metalized? Will this thing be fully Vac Metalized? And I say yes. I say these will be 100% head to toe Vac Metalized, because that's really what should have been done in the first place. This was a cost cut measure, and maybe they said at the same time that they were going to save the chrome on the legs and arms, and we saw the wear and tear that you get on these guys back in the day, which I do agree. There's wear and tear on them, but at the end of the day, I'd rather have a whole shelf of this than these guys. At the same time, 40 years later, trying to track them down for a reasonable price, yeah, maybe this was better, because he's like a $30 figure. So I hope you enjoyed this look at Super 7 Ultimates Silverhawks figures that are in Vac Metal, and hopefully we get everything that I said. And yeah, I'm filming this back to back to the intro, so I don't remember everything I said, because I haven't said it yet. Anyway, like, subscribe, Ted Deer Hanger out.